You know how sometimes really unexpected alliances pop up, and they lead to these incredibly dramatic events?
Definitely.
Well, today we're doing a deep dive into exactly that kind of story.
Mm.
It's from ancient India, packed with gods, heroes, amazing weapons, and this absolutely massive forest fire.
Yeah, we're looking closely at the Khandava-daha Parva. The name itself kind of gives it away. It's all about the burning of the Khandava forest.
Right.
It's a really significant moment in the Mahabharata. Lots of twists, divine intervention, and, well, motivations that feel surprisingly human sometimes.
Okay, so let's picture the scene. We've got the Pandavas, our main heroes, right?
Yeah,
They're ruling from their amazing city, Indraprastha. Things seem pretty good.
they are, yeah. Initially, Yudhishthira, the eldest, he's kind of the embodiment of good governance, virtue, pleasure, profit, all balanced. The kingdom's flourishing.
Sounds idyllic. But you said initially.
Well, these stories rarely stay peaceful for long, do they? Things are about to take a turn.
Okay, so where does the action shift?
It shifts to Arjuna, the famous Pandava warrior, and his very close friend Krishna, an avatar of Vishnu, many believe.
Gotcha.
They decide to take a break, go hang out by the Yamuna River with some friends. It sounds pretty luxurious mansions, amazing food, drinks, fragrant flowers, like a VIP retreat.
Nice. Bit of downtime for the hero.
Exactly, a moment of leisure. But as you might guess, their relaxation doesn't last. An unexpected visitor arrives.
And this isn't just anyone, as it described this arrival.
No, definitely not just anyone. Imagine someone showing up who's as tall as a solid tree, which is seriously tall skin like molten gold, this bright yellow-green beard, matted hair, but dressed in rags, and he sort of radiates light like the morning sun.
Wow. Quite an entrance.
Definitely makes an impression. And then he reveals who he is.
Which is?
Agni, the god of fire.
Ah, okay, the fire god himself.
And he has a rather unusual request. He wants to burn down the entire Khandava forest. Consume it completely.
Okay, wait, Agni, the fire god. Wanting to burn something down, that part seems logical, doesn't it?
It does, on the surface.
But there's a catch, I'm guessing.
A big one. Indra, king of the gods. He actively protects the Khandava forest.
Why? What's Indra's stake in this particular forest?
It's partly because his good friend, Takshaka, lives there. Takshaka is a really powerful Naga leader. These are sort of powerful serpent beings in the mythology. He has a lot of followers there, too.
Okay, so Indra's protecting his friend's home turf.
Exactly. And apparently Agni has tried to burn Khandava down before. Several times, actually. But each time, Indra just sends down torrential rain and puts the fire right out.
Ah, so Agni is hitting a divine roadblock. Makes sense why he'd seek out powerful allies like Arjuna and Krishna then.
Precisely. He needs them to counter Indra. He basically asks them, can you guys stop the rain and also stop any creatures from escaping while I, consume the forest?
Why them specifically, though? Surely there were other powerful beings around.
That's a fair question. The text suggests Agni recognized their exceptional skill. Their prowess with weapons was renowned. He saw them as the only ones who could really handle Indra and make sure the job got done.
Okay. But why this forest? Why is Agni so fixated on burning this specific place down? There must be more to it.
Oh, there is. There's a whole backstory. It's actually quite fascinating.
All right, let's hear it.
Yeah.
What led Agni to this point?
It starts, interestingly enough, with a human king named Swataki.
Swataki, okay.
This king was incredibly dedicated to performing sacrifices, like constantly, for years and years.
Okay.
He performed so many, in fact, that the priests who were helping him just got completely exhausted, physically, spiritually, totally drained. Eventually, they just said, we can't do this anymore, and they refused to continue.
Wow. Sacrifice, burnout. I can almost picture it. The smoke, the chanting day after day.
Exactly. But King Swataki wasn't deterred. He just found other priests and kept going. Then he gets this idea for an even bigger sacrifice, one that would last 100 years.
100 years?
Yeah.
That's ambitious. Finding priests for that must have been tough.
Extremely tough. Understandably, no one was signing up for a century-long gig.
So did he give up then?
Not Swataki. He pleaded with his original priests, offered them gifts, bowed down, but they still refused. He got angry, argued they had no reason to abandon him.
And the priests?
They got annoyed too, and sort of sarcastically told him, well, if you need help with that, maybe you should go ask Rudra. Rudra being another name for Shiva, the powerful, sometimes destructive major god.
Ooh, risky suggestion. Did he actually do it? Go ask Shiva.
He did. He went to Mount Kailasa, Shiva's home, and performed intense penance for 12 years. Serious austerities, trying to get Shiva's attention and favor.
12 years. Okay. This king is seriously persistent. Did it work? Did Shiva agree?
Eventually, yeah. Shiva was impressed by his dedication, appeared, and offered him a boon, a divine favor. Swataki immediately asked Shiva to personally officiate his massive sacrifice.
Makes sense. Aim high.
But Shiva doesn't really do sacrifices directly, so he offered an alternative.
Let me guess. It involves fire.
You're catching on. Shiva told Swataki, look, if you can continuously pour clarified butter ghee into a fire for 12 straight years while living as a celibate student, a brahmacharin, then I'll make sure your sacrifice happens.
Another 12 years of just pouring ghee. This guy.
He did it, though.
Oh,
Fulfilled the condition. 12 years of nonstop ghee pouring.
Okay, so after all that, then did Shiva step in?
Not personally. After the 12 years, Shiva directed Swataki to another powerful figure, a Brahmana named Durvasa. Durvasa was known for his immense spiritual power and sometimes a fiery temper, too. Shiva said Durvasa would conduct the sacrifice for him.
All right, so Durvasa runs the show. Where does Agni come back into this?
This is the crucial part. During Swataki's incredibly long sacrifice conducted by Durvasa, Agni, the fire god, was the one consuming all that clarified butter for 12 solid years.
12 years of pure butter. Even for a fire god, that sounds like a lot.
It was way too much. Agni basically overdosed. He became completely surfeited, lost his appetite for his usual fuel, his color faded, his energy just plummeted. He got really sick. Think divine indigestion on an epic scale.
Wow. Okay, so sick Agni needs a cure. Does he go to a divine doctor?
He goes to the top, to Brahman, the creator god. He explains his situation, how sick he is from all that ghee.
And Brahman has the answer.
Brahman tells him about the Khandava forest. Apparently, Agni had burned it down once before, long ago, at the request of the gods. But it had since regrown and was now full of creatures, animals, nagas, all sorts of life.
Right.
Brahman says, if you consume the fat of all those creatures in Khandava, that will cure you. It will restore your energy and power.
Ah. So the forest is basically Agni's medicine, a very fiery, destructive medicine. Okay, that explains the why.
Yeah.
But why couldn't he just do it? What was stopping him before he asked Arjuna and Krishna?
He tried. He really did. But, like we mentioned, Indra kept interfering with rain. And beyond that, the inhabitants themselves, powerful elephants, different kinds of nagas they fought back, they managed to put out the flames themselves multiple times.
So he was stuck. He needed the forest to get better, but couldn't overcome the defenses on his own.
Exactly. Which brings us back to him approaching Arjuna and Krishna by the river. He's desperate.
Okay, it all fits together now. So Agni makes his plea. But Arjuna points out they aren't exactly ready for this kind of operation, right? They need some gear upgrades.
That's a key moment. Arjuna acknowledges he has celestial weapons, sure, but for this task, burning an entire forest while fighting off potentially divine resistance, he needs more.
Like what specifically?
He says he needs a bow strong enough for his strength, something truly exceptional. He needs arrows that never run out, because this could take a while. He needs a chariot that can carry all those arrows and move incredibly fast. And not just any horses, but swift, celestial, white steeds.
A divine shopping list. And Krishna.
Krishna also needs something special. A weapon suited for fighting nagas and pisachas. Those are sort of ghoulish demonic beings, something powerful against non-human foes.
So they need a serious armory boost. Who provides it? Agni.
Agni facilitates it. He goes to Varuna, the god of the waters, the cosmic ocean. Apparently, Varuna held some specific, very powerful items originally obtained from Soma, the moon god. Agni requests these for Arjuna and Krishna.
Okay, let's hear about this divine gear. What did they get?
For Arjuna, Varuna provides the legendary Gandiva bow.
The Gandiva. Okay, I've heard of that.
It's described as basically indestructible, incredibly powerful, the best of all bows, equal in might to 100,000 normal bows. Plus, it enhances the wielder's fame. Just holding it was auspicious.
Wow, that sounds almost game-breaking. What else?
2 quivers that are inexhaustible. Truly bottomless supplies of arrows.
Inexhaustible quivers. Nice.
Yeah.
And the chariot.
The chariot. Celestial, drawn by silver white steeds, swift as thought or wind, with golden harnesses. It was made by Vishwakarma, the divine architect. Impervious to harm, radiant, thunderous wheels. And it had this incredibly fierce banner depicting a great ape.
An 8 banner. Sounds distinctive.
Very. The text says the ape looked terrifying, like a lion or tiger, capable of burning enemies with its gaze. The chariot also had other flags whose roars could make enemies faint. And significantly, this very chariot was used by Soma when he defeated the Dandavas, another group of powerful beings.
Okay, so Arjuna is seriously kitted out now. Unbeatable bow, infinite ammo, super chariot with a scary ape. What about Krishna's gear?
Agni personally gives Krishna a discus, not just any discus. It has an iron pole or hub, it blazes with energy, and crucially, it returns to his hand after hitting its target.
A fiery returning death frisbee. Got it.
And it's specifically mentioned as effective against pretty much everyone: gods, rakshasas, pisachas, daityas, nagas, humans.
The lot.
Versatile.
Anything else for Krishna?
Yes, Varuna also gives him a mace called Kadadaki, said to roar like thunder and be capable of slaying any daitya.
Discus and mace. Okay, Krishna's armed and dangerous too. He must have felt pretty confident after receiving all this.
Absolutely. They basically tell Agni, okay, we're ready, bring it on. We can even handle Indra if he shows up. Arjuna actually boasts that with Krishna and his discus, there's nothing in all three worlds they can't conquer together.
Right, the dream team is assembled and armed to the teeth. Time to burn down a forest. How does Agni actually start the fire?
With help from Vayu, the wind god, Agni assumes his most powerful form. He surrounds Khandava with his 7 flames, his 7 tongues, and just starts consuming it. The sound is described as like the roar at the end of a cosmic age, like the whole universe is ending. The forest just erupts in flames.
7 flames. That paints a picture. And Arjuna and Krishna, they jump into action.
Immediately. They take up positions on opposite sides of the burning forest in their amazing new chariots. Their job is to prevent anything from escaping. They work in perfect sync, chariots moving as one, raining down arrows, cutting off all escape routes.
A fiery blockade. What was it like for the creatures inside?
Absolute terror and devastation. The text describes hundreds of thousands of beings screaming, trying desperately to run, but there's nowhere to go. Some are half burnt, some completely incinerated. There are really harrowing descriptions of animals dying together, clinging to their young or mates.
That's correct.
Even the water moils in the ponds and lakes, killing all the fish and aquatic life. It's total annihilation.
What about birds trying to fly out?
Arjuna's arrows picked them off. The sky was filled with his shafts, cutting them down, forcing them back into the inferno below. The sound, the chaos, is compared to the mythical churning of the ocean, an event of immense cosmic violence.
This level of destruction, surely the gods noticed. They couldn't just let this happen, could they? Especially Indra.
You're right, they noticed. The Celestials saw this happening and rushed to Indra, basically asking, is this the end of the world? Indra, obviously concerned about Takshaka and the forest he'd sworn to protect, decided to intervene directly.
Okay, here it comes. Round 2. Indra versus Agni. But this time Agni has backup. Indra brings the rain again.
He does. He summons huge banks of clouds, all kinds, and unleashes a massive downpour right onto the burning Khandava.
Did it work this time?
Nope. Agni's fire, fueled perhaps by the initial victims and empowered by his divine purpose, was just too intense. The rain literally evaporated midair before it could even touch the flames.
Wow. Agni's power, plus maybe the fat fueling the fire?
Yeah.
Okay, Indra must have been furious. What's his next move?
He doubles down, gathers even bigger, denser clouds, determined to quench the fire with an overwhelming flood from the sky. The scene is described as incredible, massive flames reeking up, torrential rain trying to beat them down, smoke, lightning, a true elemental clash.
But Arjuna's got his Gandiva bow and infinite arrows now. He's not just going to stand by, is he?
Not a chance. Arjuna uses his celestial weapons, the power imbued in them, to create his own countershower. A storm of arrows that meets Indra's rain head-on, effectively neutralizing it. Then he creates this dense canopy of arrows over the forest, like a roof, blocking escape from above, too.
An arrow roof? That's incredible imagery. So, sealed off from below and above. What about Takshaka, Indra's Naga friend? Did he get caught?
Luckily for Takshaka, he wasn't actually in the forest at the time. He was away in Kurukshetra.
Ooh, close call for him.
But his son, Asvasena, was there, a powerful Naga himself. His mother, also a Naga, tried a desperate move to save him. She started swallowing him whole to shield him.
Swallowing him? Whoa.
She got his head and most of his body down, but as she was trying to swallow the tail part to fly away, Arjuna, seeing this, shot an arrow and severed her head instantly.
Brutal. But did the son Asvasena survive that?
Yes, but only just. Indra saw what happened and in that moment created a powerful illusion. Some texts say darkness, others strong wind that briefly disoriented Arjuna. In that split second of confusion, Asvasena managed to slip away.
Ugh. Divine intervention again. A bit of trickery from Indra.
Arjuna was furious when he realized he'd been tricked. He actually cursed the escaping Aswasena, saying he would never find refuge or fame anywhere.
A curse follows him. Okay. But the fight's not over, is it? Indra's still there.
Not by a long shot. Indra, perhaps angered by Arjuna's defiance and the curse, starts attacking Arjuna directly with his own celestial weapons. The weather gets even wilder, fierce winds, churning oceans, more lightning and thunder.
So Indra ups the ante. How does Arjuna respond?
He uses another specific celestial weapon, the Vayavya weapon, associated with the wind god. Chanting the right mantras, he uses it to completely dispel Indra's storm clouds. The sky clears again, and Agni's fire, now fueled by all the fat from the consumed creatures, burns even hotter and fiercer.
Arjuna seems unstoppable. But surely Indra wasn't the only one fighting back. What about other inhabitants or allies?
No, you're right. A whole host of other beings joined the fray. Garuda birds, enemies of the Nagas, various types of Nagas who perhaps weren't allied with Takshaka, Asuras, Gandharvas, Yakshas, Rakshasas. They all attacked Arjuna and Krishna. They threw everything. They had missiles, iron balls, even uprooted trees and boulders.
The massive counterattack.
But Arjuna and Krishna, with their divine weapons and perfect coordination, just cut them all down. They were completely unfazed.
Okay, this is getting serious. If the minor powers failed, did the big guns step in? The major gods?
They did. This is where it escalates dramatically. Indra, on his great elephant Airavata, is joined by Yama, the god of death, Kuvera, god of wealth, Varuna, god of water again, Skanda, the war god, the twin Ashwins, and basically a who's who of the Hindu pantheon, Rudras, Vasus, Maruts, Satyas, Vasudevas, all arriving armed and ready for a full-scale battle.
The entire celestial army versus two heroes and a fire god.
Yeah.
The odds seem unfavorable.
Absolutely astronomical odds. And the texts mention ominous portents appearing in the sky, signaling this huge divine conflict.
Were Arjuna and Krishna worried? Did they falter?
Not according to the story. They stood firm, calm, and met the combined assault of the gods head-on. They used their weapons so effectively that they actually started routing the celestial army. The gods were thrown into disarray, retreating and seeking shelter behind Indra.
They beat back the gods. Seriously.
That's what the text says. Even the Munis, the sages watching from above, were apparently astonished by their power and skill.
Wow. Indra must have been desperate now. Did he try anything else?
He kept trying. He rained down showers of stones, almost testing Arjuna, challenging his archery. Arjuna just casually deflected it all. Then Indra makes this ultimate move. He rips a huge peak off Mount Mandara, trees, animals and all, and hurls it directly at Arjuna.
Throwing a mountain peak, that's gotta work, right?
You'd think so, but Arjuna, with incredible speed and precision, fires off these sharp, fire-tipped arrows that shatter the mountain peak into thousands of pieces before it hits him.
Shatters a mountain in midair. Okay, Arjuna's abilities are just off the charts.
The fragments rain down, killing more creatures below, tragically. And it's around this point, seeing the gods struggling, that Krishna decides to unleash his ultimate weapon.
The discus. Kamodak, you know the other one?
The Sudarshana Chakra, the blazing discus Agni gave him.
Right, the fiery boomerang of doom. What happens when he uses that?
Total devastation for anyone left opposing them. The discus flies with incredible speed, cutting down Danavas, Rakshasas, Nagas, Pisachas, any remaining large animals, elephants, tigers, lions, buffaloes. Nothing seems able to withstand its power. It just slices through everything in its path before returning to Krishna's hand.
It sounds like absolute carnage. The forest is burning, gods are retreating, creatures are being decimated by arrows in the discus. Is there any end in sight?
Just as it seems like a total bloody rout for the gods and everyone else, something changes. An incorporeal voice, a voice from the heavens, deep and powerful, speaks directly to Indra.
A voice from the sky. What does it say?
It tells Indra two key things. First, it confirms that his friend Takshaka is safe. He's definitely in Kurukshetra, not in the fire. Second, and more importantly, it identifies Arjuna and Krishna as Nara and Narayana.
Nara and Narayana, the ancient, incredibly powerful sage twins, often considered aspects of Vishnu.
Exactly. The voice declares that these two are invincible, that this act of burning Khandava was destined, part of their purpose. And it commands Indra to stop fighting them, to withdraw.
Whoa, so a higher authority basically steps in and says, stand down. This is meant to happen. You can't win.
Pretty much. It reframes the whole conflict. It's not just two heroes helping a god. It's a destined event orchestrated by beings of immense cosmic significance.
That must have given Indra pause. How did he react?
He listened, recognizing the truth in the voice, seeing the undeniable power of Arjuna and Krishna. He finally let go of his anger and jealousy. He commanded the Celestials to retreat, and they all withdrew back to their heavenly realms.
Victory for Arjuna and Krishna. They faced down the entire pantheon. What happened next? Did the fire just burn itself out?
With the gods gone, there was no one left to stop Agni. Arjuna and Krishna continued their work, ensuring nothing escaped. Arjuna's arrows kept flying, Krishna's discus kept striking down any stragglers. Agni roared with satisfaction, growing stronger and more radiant as he consumed the forest and its inhabitants. His divine sickness was finally being cured.
An absolutely epic confrontation. But you mentioned earlier that amidst all this destruction, a few individuals actually did survive the fire. 6, I think?
That's right. Out of countless beings, only 6 made it out alive.
We know about Aswasena, Takshaka's son, who slipped away thanks to Indra's illusion. Who were the others?
There was Maya, the Asura.
Maya and Ahura, usually they're opponents of the gods. How did he get spared?
It's an interesting moment. As Agni's flames were about to engulf Maya, he specifically cried out to Arjuna for protection, just begged for help.
And Arjuna?
Arjuna, perhaps moved by the plea or recognizing something in Maya, granted him sanctuary. He declared Maya safe. And because Arjuna gave his word, both Krishna and even Agni respected it and let Maya go free.
That says something about Arjuna's character, doesn't it? Granting protection even to an Asura in the middle of all that.
It does. It shows compassion and the power of his word. So, Aswasena and Maya, that's 2. Who are the other 4?
The other 4 were birds. Specifically, 4 young birds called Sarngakas. Just birds. Why were they spared when countless other animals and birds perished? There must be a story there.
Oh, there absolutely is. And King Janamejaya, the one listening to this whole epic narrative, asks the same question. Why these specific birds?
Okay, so tell us the story of the Sarngakas.
It involves a rishi, a sage, named Mandapala. He was extremely learned, very ascetic, dedicated his life to spiritual pursuits, but after he died, he found he couldn't reach the highest heavenly realms.
Why not, after all that effort?
Because he hadn't fulfilled one crucial duty, having children. The celestial beings told him that while he'd mastered scripture and asceticism, he lacked the merit that comes from progeny, from continuing the family line.
No kids, no celestial promotion. Seems a bit harsh. What did he do?
He needed offspring, and he figured, well, birds are known for being very fertile, so he used his powers to transform himself into a male Sarngaka bird.
He became a bird. Okay.
He then mated with a female Sarngaka named Jarita. They produced 4 eggs, and remarkably, these 4 unborn sons were destined to be great reciters of the Vedas, very learned.
Wow, so he fulfilled his goal?
He did, in a way, but then Mandapala, the bird sage, left Jarita and the eggs before they hatched. He went off to be with another female bird named Lapita.
Oh, come on. He leaves his pregnant partner right before the fire. Not cool, Mandapala.
Yeah, it sets up some drama later. So Jarita is left alone with her unhatched eggs in the Khandava forest, just as Agni is about to start the inferno.
Terrible timing. What happens to Mandapala? Does he just forget about them?
No, actually. While he's with Lapita, he sees Agni approaching Khandava, and suddenly he's overcome with fear for the sons he abandoned in the eggs. He starts praying fervently to Agni, praising him, begging him to spare his unborn children.
A bit late, maybe, but he does try to intervene. Does Agni listen?
Yes. Agni is pleased by Mandapala's hymns and his devotion, and perhaps recognizing the unique nature of these unborn sages, he promises Mandapala that his sons will be spared.
Okay, so Agni promises their safety. But back in the nest, Jarita must be frantic as the fire closes in.
Totally frantic. She knows her chicks are featherless, hopeless inside the eggs. She doesn't know how to save them.
What does she do?
Well, the amazing thing is, the unborn chicks start talking to her from inside the eggs.
They talk from inside the eggs. These are some special birds.
Very special. They tell her, "Mother, save yourself, fly away. If you survive, you can have more children later. Our lineage will continue. Leave us." They even suggest she hide in a nearby mouse hole.
Wise beyond their hatching day. Did she take their advice? What about the mouse hole?
They actually debated the mouse hole idea amongst themselves, still inside the eggs. They decided the mouse living in the hole, which was apparently carnivorous, was a more certain danger than the fire, which might possibly pass them by. They reasoned it was a more honorable death to perish in the sacred fire than to be eaten by a mouse.
Unbelievable. Philosophical debate inside eggshells about honorable death versus being eaten by a mouse.
Right. Jarita tries to reassure them, saying a hawk already got the mouse, but they don't seem convinced. They accept their fate, ready to face the fire.
So, what happens when the flames reach the nest?
As Agni draws near, the eldest unborn chick, named Jaritari, starts addressing Agni directly. He speaks with incredible wisdom, offering hymns and praise.
He prays to Agni from the egg.
Yes. And his brothers join in, each praising Agni, emphasizing their helplessness, asking for mercy. The youngest one, Drona, even throws in a specific request. Oh, Agni, while you're here, could you please consume those annoying cats that keep bothering us?
He asks the fire god to take out the cats. That's bold.
It is, but Agni is apparently impressed by their hymns, their wisdom, and remembering his earlier promise to their father Mandapala, he agrees. He spares the Sarngaka chicks, and yes, he does consume the troublesome cats nearby.
Wow. Okay, so the chicks survive thanks to their dad's prayers, their own eloquence, and Agni keeping his word. What about the family reunion? Mandapala must have been relieved.
He was, but he was also anxious. Even though Agni promised, he rushed back to Khandava, worried. He'd been having a tense conversation with his other wife, Lapita, who was accusing him of still loving Yudhishthira more. Classic co-wife jealousy.
Even among bird sages. So he gets back to the nest.
He finds Yudhishthira there, and the chicks are alive, but the reunion is awkward, very awkward. The sons show no joy at seeing him. Yudhishthira is cold. He tries to talk to them, ask which one hatched first, and Yudhishthira basically tells him to go ask Lapita.
Ouch, Frosty.
Mandapala gets defensive, goes on a bit of a rant about the troubles caused by having multiple wives and secret lovers, even references famous examples. He insists he needed progeny and didn't mean to wrong Yudhishthira.
Did they reconcile?
Eventually, yes. The sons offer him the respect due to a father. He speaks kindly to them, reassures them about Agni's promise and their own merit. It smooths over somewhat. He then leaves, taking Yudhishthira, Lapita, and all the sons with him.
A complicated family, but safe. Okay, so the fire has burned, the survivors are accounted for. What's the final wrap-up for our main heroes and Agni?
Agni is completely satisfied, cured, strong, radiant again after consuming the forest's essence. He thanks Arjuna and Krishna. Then Indra descends again, but this time he's full of praise.
Praising them after they just defeated him and his entire army?
Yes. He acknowledges their incredible feat, saying even all the gods together couldn't have done it. He offers them each a boon, a divine reward.
Ah, the payoff. What do they ask for?
Arjuna, ever the warrior, asks for all of Indra's celestial weapons.
All of them. Bold request. Does Indra agree?
He does, but with a condition. He says he'll give them to Arjuna when the time is right, and specifically when Krishna is pleased with him, ties it into their bond.
Interesting condition. And Krishna, what does he ask for?
Something much simpler, but perhaps more profound. He asks for eternal, unwavering friendship with Arjuna.
Just friendship.
And Indra grants it immediately, seals that incredible bond between them.
That's a powerful moment. So boons granted, Indra and the gods head back to heaven.
Yep. Indra and the celestials depart. Agni, now fully restored and content, tells Arjuna and Krishna they've done their part and are free to go wherever they wish.
And where do they go?
The three of them, Arjuna, Krishna, and the spared Asura architect, Maya, find a spot on the banks of a river and just rest. The great burning of Khandava is finally over.
What a story. From divine indigestion to an all-out war with the gods, secret bird families, this deep dive covered a lot.
It really did. The Khandava-daha Parva is just packed with these incredible layers: duty, desire, divine power clashing, promises kept and broken, even those complex family dynamics with the birds. It's a snapshot of the richness of the Mahabharata.
It definitely makes you think, doesn't it? Beyond just the immediate story, Agni getting cured, the heroes getting weapons and cementing their friendship, what are the bigger takeaways? What does this massive divinely ordered destruction mean?
That's the question, isn't it? What are the lasting consequences? Ecologically, cosmically. What does it say about divine justice or interference when something on this scale happens? There aren't always easy answers in these texts.
It leaves you wondering about the cost, the justification, the ripples effects down the line. Lots to mull over.
Exactly. These stories often raise more questions than they answer, which is part of their enduring power.
Absolutely. Well, if this exploration has sparked your interest, definitely dig deeper into these texts. There's so much more there. Maybe share your own thoughts with us, too.
For sure. There's always another layer to uncover, another connection to make.
Well, that wraps up our deep dive for today. Thanks for joining us. We'll be back next time to explore another fascinating piece of this epic puzzle. Until then, keep thinking.